Just remember this. No matter what anybody tells you, no matter how smart you are, no matter how skilled you are, you better get your confidence back, because without it, nothing else matters. So, what should you do if you feel lost? I'm going to go live on 4 places here. I got Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, good old Twitter. Get your confidence back, ladies and gentlemen. I will tell you, I've seen people, somebody wrote, I'm so high. I've seen people who are super brain IQ people, high IQ, never make any money. Totally underperform their potentiality. I've seen people who were given millions, inherited money, yet never accomplished anything in life. I would say there's 4 things you need in life. It starts with confidence, number 1. You got to have confidence first. Confidence is the core driver of everything. Confidence is like water. Like, you want to be healthy? It's like you better get water. Or I could actually say confidence is oxygen. Oxygen. Then, what's next? Focus. Biggest thing that's missing in the modern world after confidence? Focus. Everybody's distracted. The average person's scrolling for 6 hours a day. Then you got the third thing. Skill. You're going to have to be good at something. How are you going to make money if you're not good at something? Then last, what do you think the 4th one is? Maybe I'll do some giveaways. What do you think's the 4th thing? Someone says you're lagging on TikTok. TikTok's weird. What do you think's the final thing? Anybody? Confidence, focus, skill set, energy. Once again, you could be born in the wealthiest family on earth. You could be born with a 200 IQ. You could be born 6 foot tall. You could be born, your dad's the Rockefeller or one of the Rockefellers. You ain't going nowhere without those 4. Discipline, yeah, but I put discipline. There's undisciplined people still make a lot of money, believe it or not. It's not the most disciplined person who makes the most money. Hell no. I mean, it don't hurt to be disciplined, but I would not put discipline at the top. Maybe after those 4. Maybe after those 4. Maybe. Grit, yeah, but grit comes from confidence, man. Energy is a big one. Now, there's more things to creating wealth, but I'm just saying core is confidence. Let me give you an example. Everybody here had a goal that you didn't reach. Whatever it is. You set New Year's resolution, you're going to lose 20 pounds, and you didn't reach it. Everything you do like that crushes your confidence. So one of the most important little lessons is be careful of over-promising to yourself. Don't over-promise to yourself either. It's a weird thing about manifesting. Somebody said, Tai, you always look the same. You don't get older. Oh, that's nice. Maybe it's just the lighting. So here's a weird thing. The modern world's pretty much taught you to set crazy goals. Like, you're going to be a billionaire by the end of the year. Who did I meet who had the weirdest? I know a guy who wants to be a pro basketball player. It's tough to be a pro basketball player. It's like, by the end of this year, I'm going to be a pro basketball player. And I'm like, why are you setting goals like that? It's going to kill your confidence when you don't hit it. Now, some people might say manifestation, but here's the thing about manifestation that's weird. I manifest the best when I do it from confidence and I don't repeat it over and over again. I don't know why. It's weird. Everybody says you should write down this manifestation. I saw Michael Jackson wrote shit down. I'll be the greatest singer. Maybe that's better. But in my life, when I've said to myself one time, I wish, dude, shit comes true. I remember I was in Hollywood. I just moved to Hollywood. And I had done this before in life and seen it happen. And I was driving on, and I didn't know anybody. And I was actually living in San Diego, and I was driving. And I remember being intimidated. I went out to a club. I didn't know anybody. I was just visiting from this smaller town, San Diego. And then I got up there and I said, I was right at Saddle Ranch. There's a place called Saddle Ranch. And there's an intersection. And I was right there in my car and I said, one day I'll be the king of this city. I'll be one of the kings of Los Angeles, Hollywood. And crazy thing, that intersection is King's Road. I did not know that. I did not see the King sign. King's Road. And about 4 years later, I got the house, this like mansion up at the top of Hollywood Hills. Not a huge place, but big enough. One of the best views in the world. That's where I shot my Here in My Garage video. But before then, and I started throwing parties, and I became one of the kings. There's no king, but like king of social life in Los Angeles. I was one of them, and that's a big pond. You know, my dad used to say, "Tai, be a big fish in a small pond." Well, I was a big fish in a big pond. Los Angeles is a big pond. But I had said that to myself one time. I just said confidently, one day I'll be the king of this city. And then I moved on Kings Road and became one of the kings. It's weird how life, like sometimes I'm like, does atheism make more sense? Does religion make more sense? You know, and then I think back to these moments that are unexplainable. I had that about 5 years before when I used to live in North Carolina. Same thing. I had just come back from living on a farm with the Amish. Didn't know anybody. I went out in Raleigh, North Carolina to this club. It was called The Office. It's not there anymore. And I didn't know anything about going out, man. I was kind of innocent. I had lived with the Amish, and I went just trying to get in a club. I didn't have any girls with me. And you know how good clubs don't let you in. And I went right up to the door, and the guy kicked me out. Or didn't open he just, like, you can't come in, dude. And I remember feeling super embarrassed. And then I said to myself, one day I'll be a king of this town, Raleigh. I was like, nobody's going to be able. And sure enough, a few years later, I had one of the biggest nightlife companies in the Triangle. It's called Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. So I've seen this. It's like that to me is part of confidence. You have confidence that you don't have to repeat it over and over. You have that quiet confidence, you know, and you're going to have to get that. Victor Antonio Gomez says, that shit was written in your life. You just needed to put yourself and wish for it. Yeah, it's weird. For me, the word wish does the best. I know you're not supposed to do that. Somebody said, you know, technically you're supposed to believe as if you had it. But I don't know why it's worked differently for me. Maybe it's different manifestations for different people. Maybe it's faith. I had a strong, I know Scientologists call it a postulate. You know, there's Scientologists, there's Christians, there's all these people. Scientologists call it a postulate. Whether, I'm not a Scientologist, but I read all different things. And Scientologists, a postulate essentially means something you have strong belief will happen. You're not even wishing it so much as you just kind of know it will happen. You know? So all of you need that kind of a postulate in your life. Tai, what's your opinion on the Epstein files? I don't have much on it. I'm not in it. I never met the dude, I can say that. I don't know nothing about that. That was a different generation, I guess. Maybe I wasn't popular enough or whatever. I had nothing to do. Never met anybody. You know, I throw a lot of parties. I never met Diddy. Never went to a party. I knew people that did. You know what? I stay out of that stuff. It's like rumors, man. I'm going to tell you all something. If you want to make money, leave the gossip to the common money man, the poor man. Poor people don't have any. When I was poor, I didn't have anything to do, so I gossiped. Just leave it. You know, there's got enough stuff. People have enough theories on me and this and that. If people knew the truth about you, they'd probably like you a lot more. You know. So, Tai, I think you're a stand-up guy. You're great. Oh, I appreciate that. People got different theories. You know, you get stuff written about you and this. I like what the Bible says in the Old Testament. It says, every man's argument sounds good till you hear the other side. Just remember, everything in the media is built to sell clicks. So I'm not even a fan. I find myself scrolling news and I'm like, bro, what are you fucking doing? What are you doing, man? Be a king. Every one of you, men, women, you should start treating yourself like a queen. Queen don't have time for gossip. They're running the land. The king doesn't have time for gossip. He's running his empire. So for me, will Berkshire Hathaway survive without Buffett? You ain't never gonna replace Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, but you never know. What do I think about Bitcoin? I'm still a big believer in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a brand, baby. Brands don't die easily. They can be killed, but they don't die easily. You know what I'm saying? So, Tai, you're unbelievable, brother. Andre Prado. I don't know if that's good. Unbelievable good. I'm at the point now, one of my favorite sayings is, you live long enough, you'll be a hero to a lot of people. You live a little longer after that, you'll be the villain. But if you can live through that, you'll come back and be a hero again. Like, I've been through the I'm a hero stage. I've been through I'm the villain stage. I know the truth. My family knows the truth. My best friends, my closest friends. It's just like, all of you. Some of you were the hero of the family. Then you became the villain in your family. Just wait a second. You'll be back. Push through, brother. Tai, you always quote the Bible. Did you read and learn while being at the Amish? I used to go to the Amish church. It's in German. I learned some of the Amish speak their own German. They always say, what do they always say? Epis Vorheit. That's an Amish word. Anyway, I don't know why I thought of that. Tai, you're not plumbing in LA anymore. Was I a plumber in LA? I don't know about that. My brother was a plumber. I got a brother I never met till I was about 22 years old. And my brother, he was from a different mom. My dad was married before my mom. And he dropped out of high school and became a millionaire. It's kind of cool. He was one of the first guys I ever met was my own half-brother. And I remember he had a cool car. He had a Hummer, which is now not considered a rich guy, but he came from the gutter, man. And he had a house, and it was I grew up not really seeing people with money ever. I don't know. I'm thinking growing up, did I ever meet somebody who made $100,000 a year? I don't think so. So, again, like I said, if you want to come out of the gutter, my most proud accomplishment, one of my private consulting clients said, Tai, I just asked ChatGPT who's the top 10 people who have taken people from rags to riches. And it said, you rank number one. I said, oh, okay. Globally. Because my audience is a little different. When I go to a restaurant, valets come up to me. Today I was at a restaurant. I'm traveling in Europe right now. A waiter came up to me. He's like, hey, man, I followed you a long time. He's from Greece. And there's other people that coach people that already have money. I like that. I like that I help people out of the gutter. All the stuff I've been training people how to do, read a book, you can do that when you're poor. You can go to the library. Books are cheap. Sometimes I get used books on Amazon for $2. Most people can afford $2. On top of that, I told people simple, practical things. Like I launched the SMMA movement in 2016, how to launch a social media marketing agency. I launched, 40,000 people into building their own business. So for me, I've been the hero. You become the villain, you become the hero again. All life has really, I tell people this. It's impossible to become enough of a hero that you won't be forgotten. I'll give you an example. If you start to talk to people now that are, let's say, early 20s, people are starting to not remember who Angelina Jolie is. There's people just don't remember. But believe it or not, I was watching a movie. Who was in it? I don't know. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. It was like a big group of people. People start, you get someone 20 years old, they'll be like, who is that? So just remember, when you're on your lowest days, I made the caption for this live call, get your confidence back for those of you who feel lost. On your lowest days, I know people get close. A lot of people think about taking their lives. It's a pretty common thing. I've had a lot of people. It's a common experience for human at some point to think about this. And what I tell people is your lowest low, it's just it's how the universe works, man. There seems to be laws more powerful than humans, and laws we can't even affect. Very little we can do. We can kind of affect gravity. If you take an airplane, you put wings on right, you put enough propulsion with jet fuel, you can fly. You're kind of bending the laws of the universe. But if one or two of those engines shut off, you'll be dead in a millisecond. So anyway, you can, even though the universe has nasty things to it, there's a kind of peace that comes from that. So for some of you, if everything you've been trying to do doesn't work, there's a certain piece in that nothing works forever. the guy you think is the best, this dude's going to fall. You watch, and he's going to be forgotten too. I'm not saying be pessimistic. I'm just saying, some people call that stoicism. It's a little bit different than what I'm saying. All right, somebody keeps asking the same question. Tai, appreciate for the knowledge share. Got tips on how to grow $200,000 you have into more money? Divide it into 3 buckets. You got 200 grand, divide it into 3 buckets, man. By the way, for those of you making money, just DM me on Instagram the word private. I do private client. That's my favorite thing to do, honestly. In the last 15 years of my personal brand, 2013, I launched a private client program. So somebody said, night sport coach, Tai. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a little bit wrinkled up here. I gotta sit. Anyway, I was just saying, when your highest high, don't get too high. I met this guy. I'm still friends with him. He's one of the founders of GTA, Grand Theft Auto. His name's Walter. He's also the movie producer for Spider-Man 3. Anyway, I had a dinner, and they say he has one of the highest IQs on earth. And I once asked him, I said, hey, what's your best advice? He said, always be a 7. I said, what? He said, well, when things are going great and it feels like it's a 10, bring yourself back down to 7. Because if you stay at a 10, you'll always be disappointed the next day because there's nowhere to go but down. And he said, and if you're feeling depressed, pop yourself back up to a 7 because it ain't that bad. By the way, why is there a filter on my face on Instagram? I know TikTok does that. I didn't even put a filter on my face, making me look all feminine. By the way, the guys who get the most women are a little bit, teeny bit feminine. Don't forget about that. I believe, there's a lot of red pill alpha stuff out here on dating for men. But just remember, it ain't the ultimate alpha that gets the most women. Even in gorillas, the big alpha gorilla, there's the more chill gorillas that take the females off when the alpha ain't around. Be careful. Anyway, but I don't know what. Yeah, the filter just happened. I know. How the hell did I get this filter on my face? I don't want a filter on my face. There. I got rid of it. Oh, okay. Ladies, do I look better with this Insta filter? I think not. I do think men who put filters on their face is not the great idea. Be like James Bond. I always say there's 5 archetypes a woman's attracted to. Is anybody in my 13 Thesis program? Women are attracted to 5 things in a man. And it depends on the mood, the genetics. Some women care more than others. But number 1, a woman's attracted to the James Bond archetype. So that's like the guy with the suit. He's got money. He's got a nice car. He has a nice place. Not necessarily a billionaire. Okay, not necessarily a billionaire. People get confused on that. Somebody said, Tai, very respectfully, I'm so curious what you look for in a woman. Trying to understand a successful man's mind. Well, I'll tell you the inverse of this in a second. So, women look for, number 1, the archetype in a man. You got to have a little James Bond to you. That's you got the success, blah, blah, blah. Number 2, the surfer. Surfers got the best bodies. Now, I know people are going to argue, and men, of course, think dudes with huge muscles, but the hottest woman in the world generally. I mean, it's great to be a bodybuilder. My dad was a professional bodybuilder. Don't get me wrong. But women don't like mass monsters that much. They like that damn surfer body. You got abs. You're about 10 to 14% body fat. You got wide shoulders. You're lean and athletic, okay? Shoulders is the key driver. You got that taper. The third is women like the Clark Kent from Superman. That's the nerdy guy. Now, they don't like all nerd, but they like some of the nerdy because women unconsciously know intelligence is very genetic. It's like 0.7 heritable. That means out of 1,000 people, you can explain 70% of the IQ of people in that group by who their parents are. So that's the nerd. Yeah, the humor. That's the third archetype that you need. Now, the 4th is the rock star. Rock star does well with women. So the rock star is the man who essentially goes out, people know him. Anybody can make themselves a rock star. Go to the same restaurant always. Get to know the valets, tip them, stuff like that. When you show up, it's like, yo, Mr. Lopez, Mr. blah, blah, blah. How are you today? I haven't seen you in a while. That's a good look. Go to the same club, go to the same bar, go to the same comedy club, whatever it is you do. Some status, somebody said, yep. Now, the fifth one is the artist. Don't sleep on the artist, by the way. I have sons. People don't know that, but I have sons. I don't put them on social media. But if I could have one archetype for my sons, so that they get the woman that they want, they get their pick, the artist. Big bodybuilder dude, his girl, don't leave your girl on a desert island with a poet, with a musician. No, sir. That's almost the most powerful archetype of all. Rich man's going to lose his girl to, you ever seen that Jeff Bezos with Jeff Bezos' now wife, and DiCaprio comes up? DiCaprio, she's looking, if you don't care that she's with one of the richest men ever to walk the planet, she's focused on an actor. That's an art. And of course, he's a little bit of a rock star. So, man, you got to figure out how to embody all five. I try. Nobody's, you're not going to be all five perfectly. But I have a little bit to me of an artist. Okay? I play piano. I'm a little bit of a Look, art is creation. I create. Even though I'm more of a business creator on social media, but I'm a public speaker. That's a form of art, I have a little bit of a Clark Kent to me. That's kind of the glasses, little nerd, yet not too nerdy. I've got a little bit of the other archetype of the James Bond. I can have the nice house and the nice car and go to the Michelin star restaurant. Surfer, I tend to be bulkier, so I got to be careful I stay lean. I can put on muscle easier than I can cut. So I work on staying, I focus more like I swim. This hotel I'm staying at has a really good pool. And then the first archetype that I talked about, the rock star. And I have a little bit of rock star. I got across all platforms. I got 8 million followers. I can go places. They open the door for me. But every man here, you got to develop. And you're going to have some that come easy and some that don't. Now, some woman was saying, what does a man want? An easier way, a man wants 5 things in a woman. I read this somewhere. It's very interesting. Number 1, he wants a mother. That means when he's sick, she takes care of him. Right? He's sick, your mom comes, gives you chicken soup. A man wants some of that vibe in his life. Number 2, a man wants a lover. He wants somebody he's sexually attracted to. So a lot of times I see women going, I'm not going to the gym for a man. Well, why not? Men should go to a gym for a woman. It doesn't make sense. Making yourself sexually attractive is the most logical thing to do once you realize that all human behavior is rooted in mating anyway. Okay? Even if you don't realize it. So a man wants a mother. He wants a lover. He wants a queen. This one a lot of women get wrong. A man wants to be able to take a woman to a business dinner, and everybody's impressed by how intelligent she is, interesting she is, well-spoken she is. That's the queen archetype. Then the 4th thing that a man wants is a sister. Now, I don't mean in a weird way. What I mean by that is a sister, someone you have fun with. I once dated a girl, and I remember finally realizing we weren't a good match because I loved basketball and she hated it. Right? She didn't have the sister energy. It was like, shit, I was playing basketball an hour a day, going to one basketball game, Laker game a week. And I'm just like, I got no sister vibe with her. And then the 5th one is the daughter energy. What that means is a woman who will allow you to take care of her. I saw a funny meme where a dude goes, a guy's favorite thing a woman could say is like, can you teach me about Bitcoin? Try that on a dude. Dudes love to explain shit, like mansplaining. That's built into men, to mansplain. So, anyway, it's hard to ever find a woman who can embody all 5, just like it's hard for women to find a dude who embodies the James Bond, the artist, the surfer, the rock star, and, the Clark Kent. So these are the tricky things. Now in the modern world, people have high standards, who they want to date, fall in love with. They have very high standards. And now, 50 years ago or 100 years ago, people just, you had to have 2 of these and somebody would marry you. But now women have a lot of choice. And men got a lot of choice. And a lot of women would rather stay single permanently versus be with a dude who has all 5. And for women, men are the same. Dudes are like, bro, I'll be alone before I'm going to be with somebody that's not, doesn't have the queen vibe, doesn't have the mother vibe, doesn't have the, So you just realize we live in a weird world because the paradox of choice now makes people just naturally extremely picky, So anyway, switching subjects here. I don't know what's up with TikTok. TikTok has a weird... Sam says he's enjoying being single. Well, just remember, the point... the reason men and women get together is for children. I know people... This is controversial. People get mad when I say it. That's the real reason. At the core, you can find friends, male friends or female friends, but the one thing you can't do with your friends is give birth to life. It takes a man and it takes a woman. Even though women say, I don't need a man, yes, you do. Yeah, man need a woman too. This is the forces of nature more powerful than any of us. You can't beat them. So, Sam said, after 15 years of marriage, it's nice being single. Well, you might have PTSD from that particular marriage. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. 15-year, yeah. Here in my garage, someone said, miss the old times. Land buyer and real estate developer in Brazil. I was just in Brazil. Mr. Tai, you a model, bro? Do I look like a model? I'm not good looking enough to be a model. By the way, guys, I got good news for you. You can be good looking, but as a man, you don't have to be. Some women actually don't like the... I know there's a lot of looks maxing now, and that everything you should do is looks max. I don't agree with that. Absolutely not. In fact, the most beautiful woman in the world, sometimes, look, it makes sense that intellectually, and or I should say subconsciously, super beautiful women, they know they're already bringing that to the gene pool, so they look for other things, like intelligence. So, this looks maxing thing is going to get a lot of dudes in trouble. You all know what looks maxing is? Where it's like, do everything you can, you do mewing to make your jawline better. I do agree for men that women do care about looks. I agree. All humans are programmed to, it's called a proxy. Looks are a proxy for what's inside of your genetics. So since in the last 10,000 years, there haven't been genetic tools for a woman to tell if a man had good genes, now you can do it. Before you have kids, you should do one of those genetic tests. They test for about 400 mutations and potential problems that could be between you and whoever you have kids with. But in the past 10,000 generations of people having kids, there was no ability to look inside someone's genes. So we had the second best thing was looks. So that's what scientists, evolutionary scientists call this a proxy. Looks are a proxy for truth, but not as much as you think, okay? The best looking dude on earth is not necessarily, somebody's calling me on the wrong phone. Let me tell this guy. Looks is a decent proxy, so it does matter that you look good. Most men have to do, honestly, is drop your body fat 15% or below. And if you're too skinny dudes, pop yourself up. The most attractive to a woman's about 13% body fat, and somewhere between 24 and 26 BMI. Women, honestly, a lot of people lie about this, but women, best thing you can do, put your body fat 20 to 23, something like that. Women definitely should be heavier, more body fat than men. Now, if you believe in BMI is controversial, but men find BMIs like 19 to 23. Men can be heavier. Men can be like 24 to 26 BMI is your ideal. A lot of looks in America, people's faces are just distorted by too much weight or too little weight, you know. Yeah, Scandinavia, you got a lot of good looking people, and part of it is they just fucking keep their body fat at the right amount. America is a messed up place for health. It's pretty crazy. It's truly the weirdest. Every time I leave America, I'm like, dude, America's horrible for this. Let me restart fucking. I gotta restart damn TikTok. Hold on. I don't know why I keep saying it's glitching. Okay. Showing me an ad. What is up with this? One last time. Okay. What are your thoughts on the future of the metabolic health sector? What are your thoughts on the current state of Bitcoin? As I said, Bitcoin, I'm bullish on. I believe Bitcoin. I've told people this since 2017. I believe in Bitcoin. It's the strongest brand name. Bet on brand names. It's hard to beat brand names. They sometimes fail, but they usually beat everything else. Hard to build a brand name. Most people, the only crypto they know is Bitcoin. Very few people relative to knowing Bitcoin know ETH. Very few people know Ripple. Very few people know Tether. Very few people know USD. USDC. It's very rare. iVolt said, how important is height? I don't know. Justin Bieber's about 5'7". I've met DiCaprio. He about 5'10". I don't know. So status is more powerful than height, but height is good too. Women have an algorithmic brain, so if you're low on one, you got to make it up somewhere else. Women got an algorithmic brain. Humans don't even know how their own brain works. Women, it depends on the age of woman, the culture. It depends the relative height of that population. So if you live in the Netherlands, it's going to be different than if you live in Brazil. Some of you guys are super short. If you're 5'3", if I was you, I'd move to South America or Asia on a relative scale. You're going to be a lot better off. Now, again, it's better to not be 5'3" as a dude, but what are you going to do? Beat yourself up for your whole life? You move on. Women have an algorithmic brain. If you can get status, you can offset that. Ty says, Jake says, the H Factor Personality book. Yeah, that's a book I would recommend. And if you ain't read the H Factor Personality, that's one of those books nobody knows about, and it's amazing. It's by one of the top scientists. This guy on Twitter said, Neighborhood of God, wasted 26 years of my life. Is it over for me, or am I late to start? I mean, you're a little bit late, but it's not. It's not the end of the world, man. Actually, this conversation, this dude saying, yo, this guy saying he's wasted, I guess you're 26 years old and you feel like you wasted your life. It's kind of like being 5'6" or 5'5" or something. It'd be better if you were taller. It'd be better if you hadn't wasted 26, but it's not a game. It's not game over for you. Game over is basically you get cancer, you die kind of thing. There's people who rose out of the ashes at 70. Literally. One of the presidents of the United States, Grant, Ulysses S. Grant, the general. This dude was a loser his whole life. Then the Civil War came. He was an alcoholic before. Then the Civil War came, and he became the biggest hero, and he became the president of the United States. Then after that, he became kind of lost it all again. So it's just, you can lose it late in life. You can mess up the beginning. You can mess up the middle. Don't think that way. Don't see time as if they call it the block theory of time, physicists, which means just everything's happening at once. Our brains are just too small. So all time's an illusion. If you believe in a God or you believe in quantum physics, a lot of scientists don't believe there's time as we experience it. So you're just seeing your life as if I was 1 year old, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 26. But quantum physics, the people who believe in the block theory of time, which are a lot of the most respected scientists, they just believe it's all happening at once. You just have, it's like a snapshot. If you're religious, you could believe the same thing. God doesn't experience time. God just sees everything happen at once. God's above time. So my point, what is my whole point of bringing up this science? It's just like you're looking at it too much like you're playing checkers, man, not chess. Chess is you just go people have risen from the ashes at 70 into heroes like Ulysses S. Grant was a fucking hero. And then I take Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar is arguably top 5 most important human in history that we know of. Some of history's been erased. But Julius Caesar was huge in debt, right? He had huge debt, like to the point he was going to be bankrupt. This is, about 100 years before Christ, BC. And then all of a sudden, he became kind of a war hero by a few changes. Somebody gave him money. He got a dude to give him money. And then he became the hero of Roman Empire. And everybody loved him. And then a couple years later, what was it, in 46 BC or something? All the people who used to love him stabbed him to death and he was dead. But then he lived on through his genetics because he was the great uncle of a guy named Augustus Caesar, who was the next Caesar after him, who became basically the richest man in history, 5% of global GDP, so worth $20 trillion. So I'm just saying, like, you can be the hero, then you lose it, then so the first 26 of your years of your life, okay, so you were the villain in your own eyes. You become a hero again, but don't get too attached to it. You might end up the villain again. You might end up messing it up. Humans are fallible. They make a lot of mistakes. You need to retard max more. That's something I love. You know what retard max is? Easy. Retard max just means you act like an idiot and just proceed through life and don't overthink everything. Happiest people on earth are people with handicaps. They don't overthink everything. Best drivers on earth are Down syndrome people. They don't get in the least crashes. They just focus. They're the happiest people on earth. Retard maxing is a very good little... So this guy, whoever you are, you're not here. You need a retard max. A retard doesn't think about the last 26 years they wasted. They're just like, well, I'm awake now. So what do I do today? I like one of the greatest thinkers of all time. He wrote a book called All Quiet on the Western Front. I think I won a Nobel Prize or Pulitzer Prize. They actually did a remake of it. And one of my favorite, his name's Eric Remarque. And he said, you grow old only because of your memory. There's much too little forgetting. Just forget stuff, dude. Sometimes I go into this whole thing rethinking, if I had bought Bitcoin at this time, or if I had done this design. Retard max. If you're dumb, you wouldn't even be able to remember the path. That's the best life. In many ways. Of course, intelligence has a functional purpose, and you can't fully do that. And there's no evidence that the best drivers have Down syndrome. They have the lowest insurance rates. They drive slow, they keep 10 and 2, and they don't get distracted. Ty, would Einstein have been even more of a genius if he was a gym bro? You ain't gonna get... I doubt it. Einstein is pretty smart. Einstein wrote a paper. He wrote the general theory of relativity, I think in 1910 or 1908, when he was working at the post office full time. So he wrote the most complex... It's called a grand theory of everything, equals MC squared. General theory, you can read it. I have it on my phone, the general theory of relativity. He came up with it while he was doing another job. You ain't getting smart. He wouldn't have been smarter if he was pescatarian or something. The dude was an immense brain. I think he calculated something impossible, like the belts on one of the planets, and then 100 years later, 50 years later, when we got the actual telescopes powerful enough to look out, they're like, yep, Einstein was right in like 1910. He figured it out in his head. So, Ty, have you ever heard of a thing called ClickFunnels? Yeah. When it was launched, the owner, Russell Brunson, came on my podcast. I helped him get the word out. Ty, after getting fired from a super prestigious tech job in Silicon Valley, what is this? And getting fired from a crypto banking startup, what business would you recommend? Well, what you should do to make money is super simple, man. The way you make money is you take the thing that you're naturally interested in. This is not that complicated. The whole school system is a complete nonsense. Because you should take psychometric quizzes. I have one. I built a company. It's totally free. 12types.com. The number 12 types, like personality. 12types.com. Go take my career quiz. It's going to, I don't know, it should be against the law for schools to exist without having people take the quiz. Anyway, you figure out your natural genetics. Some people are dopamine driven. They need new excitement. Some people are serotonin. They're very structured. They like order. There's people who are oxytocin driven. They like interacting with people, talking. They should do sales, stuff like that. And then there's people that are cortisol driven. They're very suspicious of everything. Those kind of people become lawyers and stuff like that. So anyway, first you figure out your genetics. Second, you figure that's your unconscious mind, what you don't control about yourself. So start with genetics. Number 2, you then switch to your conscious mind. What are you actually excited about? Pretty simple. You can draw circles. What am I genetically built for? Then you draw another circle here. What are you actually interested about if it didn't matter about money? So what would you do right now if money didn't matter? You understand what I'm saying? What would you do right now if money, if everything you did would make you equal money, what the hell would you do? Okay? So then the fourth thing that you ask her, so that's your third circle is what you already have momentum in. Now, if you're 18 years old, you may not have momentum, so you can't draw anything in that circle. Now, you can add a fourth circle, which is what you grew up around. See, I grew up around 2 things. My dad was an entrepreneur. He was like a street guy from Harlem. I grew up around that some. I didn't totally, and I grew up around my mom's side, who were professors. They were like intellectual. So I'm kind of like a entrepreneur, hustler / a little intellectual. I talk about books. I talk about science, things like that. What would I do naturally? I'm naturally into traveling, meeting people. I'm an ideas guy. I like creating and launching. So when I draw those circles, I'd kind of be doing what I'm doing today. So when you try, this guy who got fired from his job, don't try to go the worst thing to do is like Google what makes the most money. Oh, well, I read that. I have a guy who works for me, and I told him, you got the worst way. He literally Googled what made the most money. And it was like, I don't know, some type of engineer that has to do with hydraulics and water and building dams. And I'm like, why'd you do this? Like, I don't care at all about engineering. I'm not really genetically that good at it. Math, blah, blah, blah. But I just did it. I'm like, why? Better to be less rich and fucking excited about the day. You should make money. I'm not somebody that says money doesn't matter, but if you had a choice between making $500,000 a year and something that's exciting for you, that you have flow, somebody brought up flow, or you could make $5 million a year in something that's take the 500K. Because I guess what actually ends up happening when you have excitement drives creativity. You come up with a new idea nobody's ever come up with, you end up making $1 billion. You end up making $1 billion accidentally. Never Google what profession makes the most money. And you can now make money at anything, dude. You could teach underwater basket weaving. Probably could make $100 million in your lifetime. Not because underwater basket weaving, but because your energy would bring somebody into your life. This dude, like Tim Ferriss from 4 Hour Workweek, his blog brought him in contact with some dude who said, hey, you want to invest in this new tech company? The guy invested, and it was Uber, and he turned like $100,000 into $100 million. So people like to be around excitement, dude. Someone said, Tai, are you bipolar? I don't think so. My grandpa was, though. Bipolar is specifically when you have extreme periods of up and down. My grandpa would get super high, not on weed, but I mean high like energy levels. He was a scientist at Yale, and he would come up with these inventions. Then one of them failed one time, and my mom said when she was age 10 to age 20, he never left his room for 10 years. He got super depressed. Tai, where do I meet really intelligent women, 130 IQ plus? Are you high IQ? The best matches on Earth are relatively similar IQs, or at least within one standard deviation. So if your IQ is 115, don't be looking for no 130 woman. It won't last, especially with women. Women are much more sensitive to intelligence than men. Every woman you ever met met a very good-looking dude that she eventually got turned off by his stupidity. Men, not always. Men can tolerate a less intelligent woman for a lot longer if she's pretty enough. Somebody is asking my thoughts on the Epstein files. Not me. I ain't in that. That I can tell you for sure. Never met the man, never talked to the man, nor did he. I used to do my own parties. I didn't go to other people. That's a good thing. Throw your own parties. Don't go to other people's parties. That's one of the lessons from the damn Epstein files and Diddy. Hugh Hefner said he would never go to another person's parties. He only went to his own. Nope. There's many theories on me. Very few of them are accurate. Many theories over the last decade. Should you focus on love? It's taking too much time. Well, you're going to probably most men want to have kids at some point. Don't wait till it's too hard to find it. Most women going to want to have kids at some point. Don't wait too long. Do not wait too long. A lot of dudes are waiting until the final minute. I know a guy waited to his he would have been a good dad. I told him for a decade, man, have kids. He finally had them in his 50s. And now I know he's going, damn it, I should have done this 10 years ago. And a lot of women, and women is even rougher. Men, there's a guy who just gave birth, just had a son at 92. Women can't do that. So women, I don't make the rules. Has anyone said you look a lot like Yanni? Wait, which Yanni? Isn't that a musician? Who are we talking about? I get all these theories of who I look like. Some of them I like, some of them I don't. Let me see if I like Yanni. Which Yanni are we talking about? This guy? Do I look like this dude? Yanni? Do I look like Yanni? I need a mustache, bro. Okay, this is my new look. Never get a mustache, guys. Women don't like mustaches. I'm going to tell you that right now. I mean, you could get one if you want. Tell you look like Jacob Eloise. That would be good. It's not true, but that's a good looking dude. I would like to look like that guy. If you had a choice between Yanni and this guy, always be this second guy. Oh, you're not talking about, are you talking about Jacob Elordi? Nah, I don't look like that guy, but that's a good dude to look like. This dude does well. I don't look like that, but that guy does well. You can copy his style. He got good style. Women like scruff on average. No extremes. You get a long ass fucking mustache, women don't like it. You get a huge... Now, some dudes are like, I don't care. I'm not doing it for women, so whatever. Am I Pinoy? No, I'm not Filipino at all. I'm not Asian. I did my DNA. Tai, you're a mix of Yanni and Julio Iglesias. Now, Julio Iglesias lived a badass life. The singer? Yeah, lived a good life, boy. You ever seen this thing where he's on a private jet having champagne and Kentucky Fried Chicken? Tai, I'm 23 years old, lost on purpose, my career, any advice? Tony Cancella. Look, man, I just said this. Number one, you got to know your genetics. Go to my 12types.com. There's literally no charge. 12types.com, take the career quiz. See what genetics drive you. Number two, what the hell are you curious about? If everything you did made you the same amount of money, what would you do? Would you open a hotel? Would you open a restaurant? Would you work for somebody else? Would you be a gardener? Would you be a farmer? Or would you build houses? If everything you did made you the same amount of money, what would you do? That's the ultimate, simplest framework, man. If everything you did made the same amount of money, what the hell would you do? If everything you did would make you $1 million a year, what the hell would you do? Nothing could make more. Nothing could make less. Everything was the same. Would you fucking be a waiter? You know? Then you do that. It's a simple framework. You'll end up making more money because the contagious energy you'll have will rub off. The world's attracted to energy, man. The world's an energy game. When you looked at who won the president almost every time in American history, study the energy. Look at the energy. I'm not saying who you liked. If you're just betting on who's going to be the president, watch the energy. So, for example, Obama was hard to beat. That dude had calm, collected energy. You may hate the guy. I'm not talking about his political parties, his political views. I'm saying I wouldn't want to be running against Obama. That guy had strong energy, calm. It's hard to get him off his game. If you look at Kamala Harris in the last election versus Donald Trump, Kamala Harris she laughed a lot. She didn't come off as presidential. Her energy, Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, is irrelevant. Trump had stronger energy. You know, I don't know how Biden won because that dude didn't, he was not fit to be president. I'm not, I usually don't mention, fucking politics. I did not like Biden. I don't care if you're a Republican. That guy should not have been allowed to be in office. He was too old. Every time I travel the world, even people who don't even like Republicans, they'll be like, how the hell you let Biden be president? That dude, that's like, you might as well put a mannequin up. It's a weird part in American history. At a weird time in COVID. What the? Yeah. Is fiber optics a good career? Would you get it if all careers made the same amount of money? What would you go into? Do that. If all careers made the same amount of money, no career could make more or less, would you go into fiber optics? Yeah, Biden was a joke, worse than a joke. Biden messed up the world, dude, because he printed too much money. Biden, in my opinion, and I'm not the number one expert on politics, but I'm not the stupidest guy. Biden has to go down as a top 2 worst president in American history. Come on, this dude. You could take, some people say the worst president, what was it? Not Hoover. What was the one in the 1920s everyone said was corrupt? There's been a few presidents that are, listed as the worst. He's up there. Worse than Nixon. Nixon now is becoming a hero, So, someone said, Ty, your SMMA course was an upselling garbage. I don't know, bro. I lost it. I hear you. I launched a generation of entrepreneurs out of SMMA. Iman Ghazi came out of there. Mr. Beast. Everybody was in my stuff. So it might have been not a good course for you, but that shit launched a generation of entrepreneurs. Sam Oven, all these kind of guys. Yeah, James Polk wasn't good. Biden's up there as a nonsense president. How are we gonna explain that to our grandkids? They're gonna watch videos and be like, this dude, you ever see him try to walk off a stage? This guy couldn't even find the stairs. I'm like, yo, if you can't find the door, we remove you as president. We were like, yep, this motherfucker is removed from president. You can't find a door? Basic test, day 1 of presidency. You are standing here. Where's the door? If you're walking into walls, like this president is either, Harding. That was the president that's considered the most corrupt. Warren Harding. But Biden's worse. Because Biden printed so much money. Everywhere I go in the world, prices are too high. I don't know how the common man's living now, dude. I make money, and I'm like, how the fuck? I went to Disneyland, a year ago. I'm like, this thing, I just went for the day. No, actually, we stayed at the Disney hotel. I took some family and some friends. It's like $7,000 to $10,000 for a day and a half. I'm looking around. These are common, everyday, hardworking families. What? Dude, I remember Disneyland was like, I remember when it went to $100 a person. So it went from being $500 to go to $7,000 to $10,000 if you get the little upgrades and all that thing. Anyway, people going in debt for one weekend at Disneyland. That's all Biden. You cannot print money. That's what the Roman Empire did. Not just Romans, the Greeks, every civilization that had money made this mistake. They were like, well, we got to debase the currency. Let's print more of it. Let's solve stuff. Boom. Ty, what do you think about the Epstein files? Well, I'm not in it. That's good. For me. Is anybody surprised there's stupid shit going? I guess I grew up, since my dad was in prison, and I grew up not in a rich part of the world, and I grew up, one of my first memories is seeing somebody get shot in the heart in front of me and my mom at my uncle's wedding in LA. I had never had this idealistic view of the world. You're not going to surprise me with much. Oh, you're not going to believe it. This fucking politician did this. I'm like, I'm not dead. Okay, what else is new? Like, what? I don't. Just folks, stay in your own 3-foot world, man. Stay in your own 3-foot world. The world wants to get you off the 3-foot world. Once in a while, you got to come and look at big picture politics and news. Once in a while. In general, spend 90% of your life in your 3-foot world. Tai, how do you deal with toxic people? I stay in my 3-foot world. Keep them away. I don't even curse them. There's so many people that I could expose and like go to war with, and I'm just like, and it probably hurt me to not go to war because people would say shit about me, and I'm like, bro, I could come and destroy you, but I'm just like, I'm gonna stay in my own 3-foot world. And at the end of the day, 100 years from now, nobody remember anything. So it's just like, stay in your own 3-foot world, man. Live in a fantasy world that you create. If you feel lost, redo the fantasy world. You know, people have all these fantasy worlds and they think about Dune and they think about anime and they think about, and I just am like, my whole life is just kind of that fantasy world. People gonna make videos about me that are negative. Okay, you're not in my fantasy, so who gives a shit? Okay, 100,000 people believe it to be true. Okay, they're not in my fucking fantasy either. As long as nobody interferes with me being able to live out every day what I want. Today I woke up. I can be whatever city in the world I want to be. I have enough money to do pretty much whatever I'd want to do. I mean, I don't have $1 trillion. I don't have $1 billion, but I can pretty much do what I want. Pretty much go. I don't have to really think about stuff. I was with today, a really amazing business dude flew in from New York. I'm looking at buying a company. They flew, 2 people flew from Europe to see me. It's all good, man. Just get into one of those things where you're super in your 3-foot world, man. Those of you lost, I know why you're lost, because you're comparing yourself to the 18 people over here, and you're projecting out what life had been if 17 years ago you had done this, and I procrastinate too much, and therefore the whole world always made money are now gone, and retard max. Your dog's kind of a retard. Dog's IQ is about 30 to 40. That's the IQ of a dog. Some dogs have an IQ like some dog like Border Collie has like a 40 or 50 IQ. Some of the smartest ones, and some dogs like a lab has or a golden retriever must have an IQ of like 8. But they're nice to be around and they're happy. Become more of a golden retriever. Just okay. That's what I call retard maxing. Oh, I lost all my money? Oh, okay, I'm a golden retriever. Who cares? Golden retriever can only think 3 minutes ahead, 3 seconds ahead, 3 seconds behind. Tai, what are your thoughts on the black pill? So do you mean black pill as in the world's negative and everything's falling apart? I'm in my 3-4 world. Probably. I was out with some girl not too long ago, and she's like, "Oh, I'm never gonna have kids because bringing kids into the world is so bad, and the whole world is gonna be destroyed soon, and the whole world's gonna heat up because of global warming, and the water is gonna overflow Miami, it's gonna overflow Europe, and Amsterdam will be underwater, and everyone will be dead, and that will trigger this and nuclear battle and and Putin and Ukraine." I'm like, okay, yeah, possible. But don't you think you're projecting things out a little bit too far beyond your human ability to actually predict those accurately? Just have a kid. By the way, you may bring your kid into a fucked up world. A golden retriever would be like, nah, I just had puppies. A retard max. It's a good thing. You might not be as rich, but you'll be happier. So I value, I'll tell you this, I'm going to go I just came on here just to talk. In general, it's a really tricky one. You know, I've been teaching for many years, health, wealth, love, and happiness as the 4 pillars of the good life. And people ask me, what's the most important? Is it health, physical health? Well, I call physical health the foundation. Without it, everything else falls apart, but it's not the purpose. Wealth is the fuel. It makes everything happen faster. But it's not the purpose. Fuel is not the purpose of a Ferrari. It's just something you have to put into the Ferrari. Then you have happiness. See, happiness is also not the purpose of life, unfortunately. What happiness is like a compass, north, south, west, east. It tells you if you're going in the wrong direction. So if a German Shepherd is unhappy, it's probably because it ate something wrong, it's allergic to, it's, you know how dogs barf up stuff. So happiness is also not the purpose. Happiness is the compass, though, and you got to listen to the compass. So when you wake up unhappy, like this guy said, 26 years, I'm way behind. That's a good feeling to have as long as you don't take it too far. Your compass, you just look down at it and go, I'm going the wrong direction, and you just make a move. You don't sit there and cry over the compass. South, and I wanted to be going north. No, you just turn around and move on and forget the past. Now, the purpose of life is the third pillar, love. Love is the purpose, if you ask a scientist, because love breaks down into friends, family, romance. Romance produces children. The practical purpose of life on Earth is reproduction. Earthworms, oak trees, tadpoles, bumblebees, humans. What does everybody have in common? The core driver is mating and reproduction. So that's why I said love, it's not like the Beatles said everything is love. Not everything is love, but I'm saying the core driver. So for me, everything else is a preamble. You got to find people, man. People. Even in the AI world, you got good people around you. Friends, family, romance. This is the purpose of life. Friends are your comrades in arms. They pick you up when you fall. They're in your 3-foot world. Number 2, family. Well, the good thing about family is they tend genetically to be more loyal to you. But not always. Family can betray you too. But you keep family around. You keep your mom around because you owe her one. Because you wouldn't be here. Out of loyalty, you protect your mom. You protect your brothers, But then romance, and you have to have romantic relationships because romance leads to the best babies. You could theoretically, like the founder of Telegram, the billionaire, he's literally just says he'll have 1,000 kids or whatever. Any woman who wants his sperm, he's putting his sperm in a sperm bank, and women can have it for free if they meet certain criteria, and then he's going to have 1,000 kids, and when he dies, they all get his money. I think there's a fundamental, I appreciate the attempt, but I think there's a fundamental, first off, the fundamental flaw in this? Nobody has any ancestors in 100 or 200 years because every time a new generation comes, your genetics go in half. So when you have children, they're 50% related. When they have children, your grandkids are 25. Your great-grandkids are 12 and a half. Then it goes to 6 3/4, and it keeps dropping. So in 200 years, people are always like, Genghis Khan spread his genetics. Yeah, there's people, 7% of the world has 1/100th of 1% of pure Genghis Khan blood. Okay, so when a guy, Pavel Durov, smart guy, founder of Telegram, I respectfully disagree because the purpose of also children is to interact with your own children at some level, right? So I wouldn't want to just have 1,000 kids by 1,000 women that I never see. So anyway, going back to this dude who's 26 years and he says he wasted his whole life because that's what this whole thing. Get back in your 3-4 world. Start doing the thing that you would do if everything you did made exactly the same amount of money, no more, no less. So if you're really into, painting, figure out a way. There is a way you can make money painting. Maybe you have to manage some other painters and other artists. Maybe you have to make a platform. Maybe you have to, be on Etsy and be a broker or be an agency for other painters. But just get in the groove that you have a lot of interest in, but make sure you have a genetic propensity. What do I mean by that? That there's some genes behind it. Wouldn't make sense for me to try to become, a pro basketball player. Average pro basketball player is like 6'7". There's a genetic component. Wouldn't make sense for me to try to become a engineer like Elon Musk. That's not my genetic strength is more verbal IQ versus mathematical. I was pretty good at math, but spatial IQ is my lowest in my IQ. I know my own genetics of my own IQ. So get in your lane and then get in your 3-foot world so you're not doing so much comparing. Men really end up killing themselves over comparative things. I got one good damn thing in my genes. I did not get the envious gene. It's insane. I literally never see a dude and go, I wish I was him. The only time I'd say exception is maybe pro basketball players. When I met Kobe Bryant, or I'm like, oh, that'd have been a cool life. Make $500 million, get paid to be in good shape, get the best cooks, the best this, everybody loves you, as long as you win. So maybe being Messi or Ronaldo or LeBron James, maybe I'm a little envious, but get out of the envy game. That's the reason the dude's all depressed. I lost 26 years. Yeah, because you're comparing yourself to somebody who's more successful at your age, but that man's in his hero phase. He'll become the villain probably. What advice would you give your 20-year-old self? That's what I've been talking about. I mean, I give my 20-year-old self, be more confident when you're in your deep domain expertise. Be extremely confident. Focus more. Everybody's distracted. You're going to have to force yourself. Turn the lights out. Whatever you got to do, read a book. You got to be able to read for 5 minutes a day or your brain's not focused. That's hard now. Even 5 minutes a day getting hard for people. I would tell myself, think about all 4 pillars: health, wealth, love, happiness. Realize all 4 are important, even though the love one is the actual purpose of Homo sapiens. But balance all 4. Don't try to make money and sacrifice your health. Don't try to find love and sacrifice your money. You're going to have to get all 4, man. It's tricky. How can you be confident without scaring everyone? Well, confidence can be quiet, too. When I say confident, I don't mean being narcissistic. I'm not saying being narcissistic. Narcissistic is where you're confident. I once went on a date with a girl in Hollywood, and she's like, I'm the voice of a generation. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, I'm better than Lady Gaga and all this. I'm like, no, you're not. That was too much confidence. That's also not confidence. That's delusion. I said be in a fantasy world, not delusion. Slight difference. Delusion is where you think you're better than other people who are actually better than you. Fantasy is you're just making up shit. So you're just like, these 1,000 people are gossiping about me? Okay, I don't care. I don't care. I'm in my own fantasy world. Okay. I got these 200 haters or these 10,000 haters. Nah. Oh, 26 years I wasted. You're 26-year-old. Oh, I should be further ahead. Nah, fantasy world. I'm going to pretend in my fantasy you can't start to be successful till you're 26. I don't know. Just make shit up. Don't get delusional where you say, oh, yeah, I can be a pro basketball. I'm better than 6'8" LeBron James. That's going to fuck you. Thoughts on Dan Pena? I don't particularly know him. I know people that know him. Seems like he got some smart shit. I'm not a hater. It can be hard to get hate. Like I said, the closest thing I am a hater is Joe Biden. But honestly, I don't think Joe Biden was mentally capable. He didn't even do anything wrong. He didn't even know what he was doing. Whoever put him there should be spoken to. I couldn't connect you with my dad, who was most affected with serious health issues. Advice for people at their lowest point in life. Don't kill yourself. That's, a lot of people end up in that place. Be careful of that one. Also, don't isolate. The worse you are in life, don't isolate, bro. Isolate is when the most darkness comes. Get on the phone when life sucks. Talk to somebody. Find somebody you can babble to for an hour or two. Whenever I'm in Uber sometimes, I like the drivers that are just like talking in their little earpiece. I'm like, dude, the only way I could survive 8 hours driving an Uber if I had some brother I could talk to all day. Liam Gottlick saved my brother from death a year ago. Good. How to cure narcissism? It's very genetic. It's tough to cure. You trying to cure it on yourself? Thoughts on looks maxing? We talked about this earlier. Don't get too far down. A little looks maxing is good. But don't get crazy. Some of the looks maxing is just trying to get views. Guys, looks are important, but any human with a brain knows that lots of dudes who are ugly get hot women. You know what I'm saying? Some dude said, well, one time I got a hand job from a 40-year-old. Okay, nothing like Twitter. Tai, when your next event in London? I don't know. Can 6 months of focused action really undo the laziness of 10 years? Hell yeah. 10 wasted years can definitely be erased by 6 months. What? 6 months of focus? Sometimes 4 months of focus can erase 10 years of mistakes. You could argue, I've said that I think confidence is the most powerful thing on earth. The second runner up there is damn focus. I don't know who I'd rather be up against. A crazy confident person with low focus or a crazy focused person with low confidence. Probably the high focus, low confidence person might win. The best is confidence and focus. Tai, would you recommend height surgery for someone who's 5'8"? No. Bro, you're 5'8"? Don't cut your legs. Don't crack your femur. 5'8's tall enough. Justin Bieber's 5'7". Conor McGregor's about 5'8". I've met DiCaprio. He's 5'9", 10. But you're going to have to do something else, brother. It also depends how picky you are. I have 6 brothers. One of my brothers is not picky with looks. He's tall, too. He's like 6'2" or something. He doesn't even need he should give you his height. He don't even like hot women. Sometimes I'm like, is that a blessing to care about looks? Clarkson Reptiles said you're 6'5". Well, you definitely don't need to do anything with your leg. Someone said these are trolls. I don't mind trolls. They give me new ideas to talk about, man. Nah. The height surgery thing, if a dude's 5'2", 5'3", and you want to live in the Western world, if you're 5'3", you just move straight to the Philippines. Fucking 5'3", dude, you're going straight to the Philippines. You're going straight to Brazil. You're going straight to Cuba. You're going straight to Mexico. You'll be fine. But if you're a dude, you're 5'3", 5'4", 5'5". I met Kevin Hart once. He's like 5'3" or something. And but he knows the algorithm of the female brain. He made enough money and status. Someone said Cuba. Yeah, Cuba. Cuban women are short, man. If you are a super short dude, your only problem is if you want to live in, Netherlands, Sweden. Russian women are tall. Croatian women, Serbian women, these Balkan women are fucking tall. So I once went on a girl that was the tallest model. She was online as the tallest model I think in the world. She was 6'8". That I'm pretty confident about like this shit. She put heels on. She was 7 foot, dude. You got that one. If you want to date a 6'8" woman, the dude who's 5'8", you're gonna need surgery. Somebody said, so simple. Tall girls love me because they know I see them as freakishly tall. Look, I'm going to level with you. Some women care about looks a lot. Don't go for those women if you're ugly. Don't go for those women. I will tell you this. There's 20% of women that's by some glitch in their brain do not care about looks. It's weird. I remember I used to throw these. I was like the king of house parties in Hollywood for years. Not those kind of parties. Never been to a Diddy party. None of those. I had good parties. I don't do them too late. And no, I'm not into drugs. That's what fucks everything. Drugs or I cut people off. Don't let people drink. Anyway, there was a dude who used to come with this chick who was for sure the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in Hollywood. And I thought it was her gay manager. Because this dude was a short Latin guy. I don't know what the hell she saw in him. But I remember them after an hour at my party, they start dancing. And I thought it was like a gay, how gay dudes dance with girls. He's grinding. Then she's like kissing him. And it was fun. I actually feel bad. Every time a guy would come to the party, I couldn't believe it. I was like, bro, that's your girlfriend? I shouldn't have said it so many times. He got pissed after it. 12 times coming to my party. On the 12th time, I'm like, bro, this ain't a hooker or something like this? I don't even know. I don't think he had status. 1% of women have a weird glitch in their brain. They're like dyslexic with looks. So if you're an ugly dude, you got to find the dyslexic eyeballs. They're there. They are there. And by the way, women, I've seen that the other way too. Anyway. Are you sure you're paying the trivia every day? Pretty much. Somebody said you haven't won. Well, hundreds of thousands of people, when I post on my stories, enter into that. I get a crazy response. So it makes sense you have not won. Do you have any programs or recommendations for new beginners with good credit? I got some programs coming out. Watch my Instagram. I got some new stuff coming. Probably next week. Dyslexic eyeball hot women. There you go. This guy's name is Ding Pham. Oh, sorry. Bong Pham. Man, Cambodian people have some names that really get you in the... I remember when I was in high school, I had a friend named Ho Tang. Ho was his first name. Shit doesn't translate correctly into America. At your peak, what would you have avoided? What have you pushed harder in? I don't even know when my peak was. Peak of what? Peak of followers or something? Peak of what? Peak of happiness for me? Probably when I lived with the Amish was the ultimate peak. But in the modern world, it's 2013. I was making enough money. Not crazy money. I was making 7 figures. I don't know if I was at 8 figures. Maybe 7 figures. And I had a cool house, but not a huge mansion. It was like a 6,000 square foot house in the Hollywood Hills. But it's not like a crazy, I lived in a 17,000 square foot house. I lived in a 25,000 square foot house. But 2013 was a good time. I used to wake up and my brain was at peace. I was a prince, but not a king. I was well known just in the city, but not in the world. That's a good place. Sometimes it's not good to be too well known. I actually think I didn't get much advice from my dad. He went to prison when I was little, but in hindsight, he said once to me, "Tai, better be a big fish in a small pond." That's good advice for dudes. At one point, I was a big fish in a small pond in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I was like, it's a medium-sized pond, million-person city. Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, and I'm like, I want to be bigger. I'm going to California. I went to San Diego. I wasn't pushing hard at the same. Then I went to Hollywood. I'm like, this is the place. That's a big pond. Hollywood's almost the biggest pond. LA's a big ass pond, and then I went global. So, Tai, how much money can I make in AI automations in 3 years? Well, you should probably try to make money soon. Because AI automations are going to, it's a whole nother conversation. Tai, I was at your house when you said be a prince, not an emperor. That's right. An emperor's I've been an emperor before. That's when you're known around the world and you're in the news and you're top Google search. Emperor is not ideal. Is it too late for a personal brand? Hell no. Personal brand. Only 2 things that make big money. AI. If you're an introvert, go into AI. If you're an extrovert, personal brand stronger than it's ever been. Somebody said you're a tadpole in a teeny puddle. That's fine too. More 67 steps. I'm working on more. Crypto or drop shipping or agency, what is best? Agency if you're broke. Crypto is great. I like to reinvest if you can handle the risk. But you got to have some profits to reinvest too. Tai, we talk about what is it? Money? What niche should you go in for AI automations? If you can automate people's marketing, their personal brand, they'll pay you a lot of money. That's something they'll pay a lot of money. Somebody said they guessed her ethnicity in 2016. Where's your money? You missed that deadline, bro. That was a decade ago. Tai Lopez Grand Theory calls you did. Yeah, this is kind of like a Grand Theory of everything call. How do you monetize your Instagram? High ticket affiliate. Your pendant looks cool. Yeah, my brother makes these. All right. I'm out. I'm headed to bed. It's late here. I will talk to y'all soon.